Good evening and welcome to Resource PNG. Tonight we feature on the show the Minister for Mining, Honourable Byron Chan, and Country Manager for Nautilus Minerals, Mel Togolo. But first we join Anya Geno in this interview with the Minister for Mining.
It's an honour to have the Honourable Byron Chan, Minister for Mining, with me. Welcome to the show, Minister.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time today. Now, the government's proposing to increase its stake in mines up to 50%. What's the rationale behind this?
Well, that's the sentiment that is being expressed now throughout the country, that the government participate more, give more benefits to the people. Equity is part of that discussion. It's not confirmed. It's an ongoing discussion and consultation with the industry and our people and our parliamentarians. That will hopefully it will be brought on the floor by next year sometime. 50% was just the proposed equity participation in terms of ownership. In lieu of ownership, right now the state owns all the land, and the state will remain the owner of land through these proposed amendments, and the 50% is the portion of ownership, I suppose, in the mining activity on that particular resource area.
But Minister, if you get to a 50-50 situation, you've got 50 for the investor, 50 for the state, what happens with decision making? Who makes a decision? How do you get through an impasse if you've got a 50-50 stakeholder situation?
Exactly. I think it goes into committee levels. It's a partnership, and I suppose government is and would more take an approach to business when it comes to that decision making. In terms of operation, I would say.
So are you fairly confident that will become legislation?
Well, that is still an ongoing issue. We have some alternatives that will be also mentioned and captured within that 50%. However, like I said, it's still an issue that we have to deal with.
You don't think it will be a deterrent that investors might view it differently?
Not so much of a deterrent. Some companies would actually like government participation. It's only when they're in joint ventures, when they have other partners in an investment, that they query a government's intention of 50%. Don't forget that 50%, a part of that is on commercial basis as well. So it's what we can afford, and within that 50%, and it's all based on commercial value as well.
Now, the Chamber of Mines recently gave a warning regarding the downturn in mineral prices affecting the health of the mining and exploration sector. How is the government responding to that?
This is a downturn in the mining sector. The commodity prices are all due to the world problems. We've managed to be able to make the administrative procedures of facilitating the renewals of licenses, the consistency of operations, without dropping the standards of the health and safety standards. So we're trying to accommodate a very difficult situation by just making the process of operation and administration more fluent. And I really like to congratulate my department and the MRA for being able to do that. We've been it's been a difficult time for everyone, for the industry, for us all, but my department and the MRA have really put things in order, and we haven't experienced any major upsets or closures in operations, and that's terrific thing.
Right. Do you think that might affect in any way the implementation of the budget, the new budget?
No, our budget has been very responsible. Prime Minister, I congratulate with the Minister of Finance, Treasury, and Planning. They've masterminded a great budget in terms of being able to deliver a stable economy and growth period after a slowdown in activities from LNG, to maintain a stable economy and maintain the trust and the business and confidence in the country. They have gone out of their way to acquire the loans from China and in place certain projects, major infrastructure projects, to keep the business and confidence on par with the rest of other activities, so that we may not lose in the long term in terms of depression industry. If the government did not take that responsible approach, we would have been left to the market forces, which is going down. So the government, the Prime Minister and Treasurer have been responsible to take the initiative to get that major infrastructures and that loan to be able to deal with a situation when there's a downturn, to maintain confidence and stability in the country.
More of this interview after the break. Welcome back. Continuing our interview with the Minister for Mining, we discuss how seabed mining has been received by Mr. Chan's electorate, the people of Namatanai.
Minister, just a few questions regarding seabed mining. It's the communities in your electorate that will be very much affected by it. What is the government doing to address the concerns of your community?
Well, I'm very happy to be in a position that I can, as a mining minister, so I can guide the development of this project. Before I became minister, the license was issued. There's no way I can cancel that license, because nothing really has been done on the project, and that warrants a cancellation. So we're being very responsible to be able to guide the department, the developers, and to the approach for the development of this project. And last week, the department went down to my district for almost a week, to every major villages, to do some awareness and discussions on the policy, and also have that interaction from the people. They've come back with very good indications of what my people want, what the province wants, and my department will be able to put the policies and the appropriate guidelines in place to capture those sentiments expressed by my people. Yes.
So with your current portfolio, you would be feeling a personal responsibility towards your people?
Very personal. Yeah.
Now, over 20,000 people from around the Bismarck Sea area signed a petition and handed it in late last year, I believe. Have you responded, and do you intend to make a formal response to this?
Yes, I thank them for the petition. I've been questioned a couple of times on the floor by the Governor for Oro, and I appreciate the concern. The matter has been passed on to my departments of Mining Policy and Mineral Resource Authority. They're working at it. Obviously, there are some things that has to be dealt with on environmental issues that they will have to pass on to the Ministry of Environment. And totally get their perspective and our perspective and put them together to make that formal response. And I will be making that formal response to them.
When will you be likely to do that?
Soon, I hope, by the new year.
Thank you. Now, there is some talk that Nautilus Minerals have gone into arbitration as an attempt to gain intellectual property rights. How do you respond to that, and what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, there have been part of the arbitration, intellectual property rights. Obviously, these are first of its kind machines and technical issues that we have to have rights over, and Nautilus does have majority rights. Though that has been an issue, it's not an issue anymore. So that matter is no longer an issue. We've come out to an agreement. We will have our portion of intellectual property rights, and this is a good thing about this this project, that we're advancing into a new industrial technology where Papua New Guinea would have that intellectual rights in any use of those technologies and machines, etc., anywhere else around the world, and maintain a good business out of it.
But what do you say to the people who say that that's exactly the point? It is far too risky. It's a technology that's not known well enough.
We have to establish that fact. There isn't any technology available, so we are creating that technology through this project.
Resource PNG continues when we return. You're watching Resource PNG. In this segment, the mining minister talks about Woodluck Mine and how South Africa may be a model country in terms of mining technology that could minimize environmental effects.
Minister, Woodluck Mining is a unique situation because it's actually one of the only mines on state land. How are the landowners benefiting from this? And if not, what's the government going to do about including them in it?
I've just come back from a forum with the people of Woodluck, the major clan owners, clan owners, chiefs, provincial government with the governor. We were in Alatau for a couple of days deliberating the project, Woodluck project. And land obviously is a concern because 90% of the land belongs to the state. And I did announce that the Prime Minister has already given a direction to the Minister for Lands to make that land be available to the landowners in terms of transferring the titles to the landowners. So that is something that I congratulate the Prime Minister for that intention of having true benefits shared to the people by terms of land ownership. We're doing that right now.
Is it a complicated process to give back land to original landowners?
No, not really. Everything's there with the land Department of Lands anyway, so it's not so much complicated. Yeah.
Minister, your father was quoted in his days as saying that the benefits from the Lihir gold mine were pathetically little. Has that changed?
Well, you see, the Lihir is in my electorate, but it's also his electorate. So we share the same concern and the same sentiments. This is Lihir is a $7 billion, which is around 15 billion kina investment. You don't see that type of benefits from such a great investment in the district, in the province. And I know where it comes from, and I'm concerned as well. But I suppose that has been, that comment has come out of the lack of government responsibility and commitment towards achieving the MOAs, the Memorandum of Agreements between governments and the local level governments to build the necessary infrastructures, social and other programs that was initially captured in the mining agreements prior to development. So I think what is the outcome of that is just the lack of responsibility by governments, and I'm trying to. That's why I'm very happy to be here in the position as mining minister, and in Prime Minister's advice. That we firstly, when we came into office, our first thing was to review all the mining agreements, because the people may have failed to capture the benefits after some time. We've just finished the MOA agreements with Ramu Nickel. So some of the problems and things that the people may have failed to capture in the 6 years of the Ramu Nickel's development are now in place as of yesterday. We are determining that issues now with Lihir and Simberi, Hidden Valley, Sinavit, and Tolokuma, and Oktedi, and Pogera, after 25 years. See, 25 years of neglect, basically, by governments, ministers, not being able to capture and commit the government towards those commitments made in those initial MOAs. We have done that, and we've succeeded to an extent. We have a couple of more MOAs to achieve, but the process is there. We're doing it, and we'll relate our commitments towards the former budgets, and especially we'll be lucky because once the cash flow from the LNG comes, it will give the government the opportunity to fulfill those commitments to our people who have basically lost out in terms of development over some period of time.
So to summarize that, there are more flow-on effects now from the Lihir gold mine to both of your electorates?
There is a flow of effects. They've increased their production to 1 million ounce. The problem is the downfall and downturn of the industry, commodity prices. They may have built a terrific production line to capture the good times. Now we're in a period of stagnant growth for maybe another year or two. So we may not be able to capture all the good things that we would like to in the mining industry because of this downturn.
Minister, what are your thoughts on how mine tailings are being handled around the country at the moment?
So thank you. I've also visited South Africa in the last couple of months. South Africa has a terrific record of mining, and they're one of the world leaders in environmental rehabilitation, and in the sense of tailings, the South Africans are leaders of that. So the technology is there. Now they are rehabilitating those tailings. Mm-hmm. So the technology to be more responsible over tailings and waste is there. We have to, and we will, capture the policy of managing those tailings over the long period in this new amendments, as suggested by the Minister for Environment, and I'd say the government will make sure that those policies are in place so that the companies be more responsible for those tailings. Technology is there. I suppose the main concern is managing those tailings over the long period, which is not captured in policy now, but will be in the next few months.
Thank you so much for your time today, Minister.
Thank you very much.
The Honourable Byron Chan, Minister for Mining.
More when we return. Thanks for staying with us. Nautilus Minerals has been exploring the territorial waters of PNG for mineral deposits since 1997, when the first offshore mineral exploration licenses were granted. Now, after much dispute and arbitration with the PNG government, the Canadian company is set to be the world's first commercial deep-sea copper and gold mine. We now talk to the country manager for Nautilus Minerals, Mr. Mel Togolo, and find out what's happening with the Solwara 1 project.
I have with me Mel Togolo, the country manager for Nautilus Minerals, New Guinea. Welcome to the show, Mel.
Thank you.
Mel, what's the status at the moment of the Solwara 1 project?
The status at the moment is that we are moving well towards into commissioning. It's a long way to go yet for us, but we have had works going on for our long lead items, right, which are the mining equipment and the pump and the riser, what we call the riser and lifting system. We have been talking with the state because the state is 30% of the project, and those discussions have been very positive.
For those viewers who don't know very much about the project, perhaps you could just in a nutshell talk about the technology you're using.
I think first of all, I'd like to talk about the location of the project.
Sure.
The project is located in New Ireland waters. It is between East New Britain and New Ireland. It is 30 kilometers from the closest land point on the west coast of Namatanai. And the actual mining will take place in about 1,600 meters of water depth. So that's where it is. It's between New Ireland and East New Britain. The technology we will be using is not new technology. It is technology that's been used in oil and gas, technology that's been used in cable laying industry, the technology that's being used in the dredging industry, and also a technology that's been used on land in mining industry. So it's not new, although the concept of deep sea extraction may be revolutionary. The technology is actually off the shelf from those industries. What we are doing now, we are combining all those technologies into one to do extraction. So they are basically cutting machines. We won't be using explosives or blasting. We will cut the material to a maximum of about 50 millimeters, and then that cut material will then be transferred to the vessel sitting on the water surface, right. And then the ore and water are separated. The ore is dried and transshipped. The water that's been collected, because it would have come from on the sea floor, okay, will be filtered to about 8 microns. It'll be clear water, and then it will be taken back and discharged at about 1,300 meters exactly from where it came from.
So what depth are we talking about?
Well, we're talking about 1,600 meters. That's about a mile. That's 1.5 kilometers. Okay. So it's fairly deep in this sense.
And what's the environment like down there, apart from very dark?
Yeah, apart from very dark, the environment down there is mainly well, it's a moonscape. It's looks like a desert, but the only animals we have come across are basically snails, shrimps, and some fish. But they are different from the fish that we eat, which lives on the first 400 meters of the water, where we have photosynthesis, air, oxygen, and water mixed together. They produce the food that the fish like tuna eat. Down at the base on the seafloor, those organisms and animals live on sulfides. Instead of photosynthesis, there's chemosynthesis at that level.
Right.
So and they are not edible.
So Mel, if it's 30 kilometers out to sea, it's 1,600 meters below sea level. How does that community benefit? How does, for instance, that I imagine that's in the Namatanai electorate, how does the Namatanai electorate benefit from seabed mining in that area?
Well, as in other mining projects, we have what's called memorandum of agreement. And with Solwara 1 project, there is memorandum of agreement. That agreement defines, clarifies how distribution of benefits will take place. And that agreement is negotiated between the provincial governments and the national government. So the distribution from that agreement will be based in terms of, no, they want business plans and other things, but including how the mineral royalties will be shared. Because there is no landowners at the mine site, it's the discussion now, and it's not finalized yet. The discussion now is talking about how these could be distributed to the local level governments. So in that sense, the community will benefit. But the other benefits come from, for example, tax credit schemes that's currently operating at the moment, employment, training of skills. We want to build up skills capacity in the community so that they can have access to jobs that are being created, not only by us, but by other mining companies as well.
Resource PNG continues this interview after the break. Welcome back to Resource PNG. We continue our interview with Nautilus Country Manager Mel Togolo and discuss how landowner benefits will compare to land-based mining companies.
I think that's probably the hardest thing to grasp for most people. Like land-based mining, you're actually in a community, you've got villages around, so the mining company contributes to health, education, all the usual things. So I think that's probably where people are not really sure how they will see the benefits. But from what you're saying, I'm gathering it's still going to be the same flow on benefits to the community.
I think the advantages of what we are doing is that because there are no communities at 1,600 meters in the water, it just means that we do not have to move people away from the site. There won't be any relocation of people because there are no people there. We don't have to be building roads and disturbing gardens, for example. Our deposit, it's actually exposed on the surface. Some of it is even sticking out. So there won't be land clearance to access the ore body. It's very simple. The mine site is small. It's only about 0.11 square kilometers. So that's fairly small. Okay. So there are those advantages.
What do you say to the people that say that you may be disturbing ecosystems at that level, you know, deep under the surface to the surface of the sea?
When we first started looking at how to do our environmental studies, we talked to communities, we talked to scientists, we talked to NGOs, before we design the environmental impact studies. And what we found at that time was that people were worried about their fish. Logically, that I think that's sensible.
Sure.
So what our engineers and scientists have decided to do is that in order to take the mined material, the cuttings from the seafloor to the vessel, it'll come through a pipe system. And therefore, it is an enclosed system, so the ore that's coming up will not be in direct contact with the waters around it, especially the surface waters. It is protected. In that sense, then the tuna and other pelagic species will not be affected. There will be minimum impact on the fisheries, because it is coming up with a pipe system. It sits on the floor, it comes on the vessel, and then from the vessel, the ore is transferred to another smaller vessel to be taken away. The water that is collected, it's pumped back through the pipe system, enclosed system again, and then discharged at the bottom of the sea. So in that sense, there will be a minimum impact on the fish that we eat.
So it sounds like you are taking risk minimization strategies, and I understand your environmental impact statement has been approved by the government already.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in PNG, in our country, there are laws you've got to follow, and there are strict processes that you need to follow before you can get an environmental permit. And it took us a while to get our environmental permit, but we did all the work that is we met all the requirements that's embedded in the Environmental Act 2009, and then it went through a process in the department. The department got their own independent scientists to view our environmental impact statement, and after a lot of discussions, it was submitted to the Environmental Council, that's made up of Papua New Guineans scientists and also very high qualified people. Before it was approved, it was submitted to the minister, and we got our environmental permit in 2009, and then our mining license in 2011.
Right. Now, you mentioned mineral royalties, which is one benefit to the country. What are the other benefits that PNG will see from your project?
One of the things that we have decided to do on our own, without any commands or anything from people, is that we are going to, as a company, going to create a community development fund. And that's our own money. That's over and above the legal requirements. And we will, every ton we produce, we'll put some money away.
Right.
And this scheme will be run by independent, eminent Papua New Guineans who can look after them. There will probably be a company representative on that committee, but most of it will be independent people. They will then use that money in building in education and health. So that's one of the benefits, where we will be able to help communities around our close to our project.
Right.
With that funding. We will also be looking at, of course, tax credit scheme that's usual now, is accepted policy in PNG to do other things for the community. We are very keen on education and health. We think that's an area that a company like us can assist in. So that will be our focus.
Any other advantages to this project development here?
And there are many advantages. I think one of the things that our company is looking for young Papua New Guineans who can drive the big machines. We will be sending those people overseas in Australia and in the UK to do the training to run the machines. That's transfer of skills, transfer of technology, which is going to be important for long-term development
Yes.
of our country.
Yes. And they will be first in the world, won't they?
They will be first in the world, and I foresee a time when Papua New Guineans who will be assisting other Pacific countries in this area, because we will have the skills to transfer to our brothers and sisters in the other Pacific countries.
More when we come back. You're watching Resource PNG. We finish off the show with our interview with Nautilus Country Manager Mel Togolo.
What makes this project different from others?
I think one of the things I keep saying is that it's a project that's got low environmental impact. It's a project that's high grade. You know, we're talking about between 7 to 8% copper. That's very high grade. We're also talking about 8 grams per ton gold, and there is zinc as well as silver in the deposit. It'll be an opportunity for Papua New Guinea to have the first mine of that kind in our country, and it's Papua New Guinea and Nautilus leading the world in this area.
Okay. So what's Nautilus' vision for PNG?
I'd like to make sure that the whole of the company is run by Papua New Guineans. High tech. That's why we're very interested in our training, in making sure that we select the best Papua New Guineans to run this. And the global vision for me is that that deep sea exploration and deep sea mining extraction will reduce poverty in the Pacific. We got lots of little islands in the Pacific that need help, that are dependent on foreign aid from Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom, European Union. I think by engaging in this sort of activity, they'll be able to do some of the things on their own, using their resources.
Great vision.
Yeah.
Now, I understand you've also been speaking with Duke University in the US regarding some marine short courses. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
We have been actually for the last 4 or 5 years been sending young Papua New Guineans one a year to Duke University in North Carolina, where they have the best deep sea ecologists, and they have the best training facilities. We've been sending them over there to learn, and those graduates and sponsorship, they then would go back to universities and teach. At the moment, I think we've got like 2 of our graduates, our sponsorship, are teaching at the university. But this year we decided, instead of 1 a year, why not bring the course to Papua New Guinea? So we started talking with UPNG and Duke University, and that collaboration has been very positive. Recently we had about more than 20 students, Papua New Guineans, specially selected, because we advertised the course to everyone, and all the students applied.
So UPNG is now offering this?
So UPNG now provided the facilities.
Right.
We brought in the lecturer, and there's more than 20 Papua New Guineans and Pacific Islanders who were at the UPNG taking the course this year. It was very successful, and we hope that we can continue this collaboration between the 3 institutions.
Excellent. Now, we understand Nautilus has not asked for any tax concessions. What's the rationale behind that?
That is correct. We even though we are a pioneer industry, we didn't want to ask for any concessions, because we feel that the project will stand on its own 2 feet and be commercial. Basically because this high grades of copper is what drives the economics of this project, and therefore we thought we will just go ahead, show the world that it can be done, and I think we don't need any incentives to produce copper and gold from Solwara 1 project.
Mel, in your opinion, has there been enough awareness activities about deep sea mining in the community and also the country at large?
We have been doing consultation with the community since before 2007. But from 2007, we ramp up our consultation. Basically in many centers in PNG, but we focus very much on the two provinces where the project is, and that's New Ireland Province and East New Britain Province. And we've been going there every quarter, initially every month, and now every quarter. During the period, we would have spoken to probably more than 16,000 people. I've visited more than 40 locations in those provinces. So we have had consultation for a long time. Just this month, we had 2 consultations. So that's how eager we are, and that's how committed we are in terms of being contributing open, transparent, consultative awareness with our communities.
How have you been finding the reception of that
initially,
information?
Initially, the reception was I must say was difficult, but more recently, in the last 2, maybe 3 years, we're getting the reception now. People want to see development in their provinces. They want to make sure that companies that work in the provinces collaborate with the communities. They want to see employment. They want to see how they can contribute to making the project move forward. So we've been very, very, very pleased with that. And consultation is going to be ongoing for us. We just don't stop. We will consult for as long as the project is in the area.
Great initiatives. Thank you for your time today, Mel.
Thank you.
Mel Togolo, Country Manager for Nautilus Minerals, New Guinea.
That ends this edition of Resource PNG. If you have any comments or queries, do email us on this address, resourcepng@mtv.com.pg, or to find out more, check MTV online. That's www.mtv.com.pg, and go to our Resource PNG page. Or you can check our page on Facebook. Until the same time next week, bye for now.